Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has shifted the date for the Kogi and Bayelsa state governorship election, earlier scheduled for November 2nd to 16th of November 2019. The commission disclosed this in a statement issued by its National Commissioner and Chairman Information and Voters Education Committee, Festus Okoye, in Abuja. The decision, according to the Okoye, was taken at the Commission regular weekly meeting held on Thursday following several appeals received by the INEC from critical stakeholders from Bayelsa demanding for a change in the earlier fixed date. It will be recalled that on April 9, 2019, INEC released the timetable and schedule of activity for Kogi and Bayelsa's governorship election. The commission fixed November 2nd for the election to hold in both states. However, the commission received several appeals from Bayelsa that the election coincide with the state annual Thanksgiving Day, which is backed by law. After careful consideration of the appeal, the commission at its regular meeting held on Thursday, May 16, decided to shift the governorship election in Kogi and Bayelsa State to Saturday, November 16. Okoye added that the timeline for all other activities leading to the election have been adjusted to align with the new date. The Nigerian police force has said a total of 93 suspected kidnappers and armed robbers have been arrested in the past 2 weeks in joint operations in Kaduna, Niger, and Katsina State. First spokesman Frank Umar, who made the disclosure at Katagiri village along Kaduna-Abuja highway, said more than 500 live ammunition were recovered from the suspects. He added that the joint operation comprised policemen from operations, intelligence, technical, counter-terrorism, and special protection units, among others. He said that the arrest and seizure were part of the success of Operation Puff Adder, launched to clear criminals away from Kaduna-Abuja Expressway and Nigeria at large. He said that the operation was largely to tackle kidnapping, robbery, and banditry, giving Nigerians sleepless nights, adding that the success recorded so far were huge. The first spokesman stressed that the Office of the Inspector General of Police provided supervisory and supportive role to the entire operations. Meanwhile, the police commissioner in Kaduna State, Ali Janga, assured farmers in Birnin Gwari and other volatile areas that it was now safe for them to return to their farm. According to him, the new operation being conducted in synergy with all the commanders of various units have achieved tremendous success. The Nigerian Senate has passed a bill confirming June 12 as Democracy Day. The Public Holiday Act Amendment Bill is one of the 6 House bills up for concurrence on the floor of the Senate during the Thursday plenary. The Public Holiday Act seeks to make June 12 as a new Democracy Day to replace May 29, which marked official handing over of the military to civilian administration. And this followed the passage of the bill in the lower chamber last December to honor the late politician Moshood Abiola, who contested in the annual June 12, 1993 presidential election.
Public Holiday Act Amendment Bill 2019 was read the first time on Thursday, 25th April 2019. This bill seeks to amend the Public Holiday Act Cap P40, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to provide for the substitution of Item 5 to the schedule with Democracy Day, 12th of June.
A bill for an act to amend the Public Holidays Act, Cap P40, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, to bring the act in tandem with the current realities and exigencies of the modern times, and to declare June 12 as Democracy Day in Nigeria and for related matters, 2019 is read the third time and passed.
The Senate passage of the Public Holiday Act Amendment Bill, which is now officially confirmed June 12 at Democracy Day, comes on the heel of the announcement of the Nigerian government that SY Democracy Day celebration of May 29, 2019 be merely for inauguration of the president-elect, an event that will be low-key.
Discover the tangible magic of our hospitality that is all about you. The Wells Cutting Hotel and Apartments is a surely fantasy-like journey into a glamorous world of pure luxury and gratifying indulgence. The Wells Cutting Hotel and Luxury Apartments offers guests a perfect blend of relaxation, business and pleasure, delicately infused to meet the highest international standards. It's first-class service at its finest. Our commitment to exceed your expectations means impeccable attention to detail, courtesy, and a genuine care for your every need. Located at number 8 Gadonasco Street, off Jose Martin at Sokoru, Abuja, Nigeria. You can call us on +234 908 7561 269 or visit our website at wellscutting.com. Upgrade your stay at the Wells Cutting Hotel and Luxury Apartments, an experience guaranteed to leave you breathless with longing.
As the first term of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration gradually comes to an end, the Federal Executive Council has approved a sum of $1 billion Chinese loan from Chinese Exim Bank for the Gurara 2 hydropower project, which has the capacity to generate 360 megawatts of electricity. Briefing State House correspondent after the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja, Minister of Water Resources Suleiman Adamu and his counterpart in the Agric and Works Ministry highlight some other memos approved by the Council.
4 memos to Council today. The first memo had to do with the need to exploit the potentials of the Gurara 2 hydropower project, which has a potential of 360 megawatts of electricity. Council approved for us to take this project to FOCAC for possible financing by the China Exim Bank at the cost of about $1 billion. That was approved. The second memo was for the need to complete Inkari Dam in Akwa Ibom State. We sought approval for a revised estimated total cost of the project, and this was approved at about 5.7 billion naira. The third memo was for the supervision of Gari irrigation project in Kano, Jigawa State. Council had earlier in 2017 or 2018 approved for the resumption of that project, which was abandoned for 17 years. The contractors have already been on site when we sought approval to appoint a consultant to supervise the works. And this is the same consultant that was the original consultant also at the inception of the project in 1998.
Got approval to buy 61,000 tons of maize, millet, and sorghum. And the purchasing will begin shortly. We also informed Council of a problem we have with Nigerian grains, especially maize, sesame, and groundnut. An infestation called aflatoxin, which the Minister of Health confirmed is a very big threat to the liver and the kidney of most consumers. So luckily, IITA has found a product which they produce in large quantities and which they now sell to Africa for treating the farms and the silos and the sacks in which we put the grains to eliminate aflatoxin. The product which they produce is called AflaSafe. We're buying the grains, treating the silos, and storing the grains in silos so that if there's an emergency anywhere in the country, or there's a shortage or a flood and there is no food, we can draw from what we have in the silos and distribute to needy areas of the country.
construction of an interchange and pedestrian bridge at Abaji in Abuja for 7.197 billion to address the perennial problem of accidents in that place, which was approved for the sum of 7.197 billion.
In a swift reaction, Minister of Power, Works and Housing Babatunde Fashola also commented on stories making the rounds that power generation nationwide has dropped.
See all of these things coming up, generation drops. What happened was that we had a system failure last week. And what happens when the system fails is simply because it's not robust enough. And this is what TCN has been implementing in its various transmission line rehabilitation and expansion projects. If you go to other countries and you observe their transmission lines, in this section you probably see 2, 3, or 4 strands of cables, so that if one fails, they start feeding back. Those lines fail from time to time all over the world. But what has happened in other jurisdictions is that they built a redundancy, which is the expansion that we are going through. So we had a system failure, and it means that all of the power systems, sometimes up to 28 generation stations, must start one after the other and be synchronized and balanced. If there's an error in that process, it shuts down and you start again. We had some difficulty restarting the system. As at yesterday, the peak generation was 4948, not 2000. And you see what people choose to report. And I won't dispute that if you said this was the average, because there is peak power and off-peak power.
President Muhammadu Buhari presided over the council meeting. From Abuja, I am Festus Ejiroge Nefifen for Ben Television.
The Senate has confirmed Godwin Emefiele for another 5 years tenure as the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari had last week written to the Senate requesting that Emefiele be confirmed as the CBN governor for a second term of 5 years. Emefiele had been screened by the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions on Wednesday, during which was drilled on issues affecting Nigeria's economy. The committee recommended confirmation of Emefiele based on the performance in the report presented by the chairman of the Senate Committee on Banking, Senator Rafiu Ibrahim. He said the committee was impressed with Emefiele, more than 32 years experience with outstanding performance.
At the end of the screening exercise of the nominee, the committee's findings are as follows: that the nominee has more than 32 years of banking experience with outstanding performance in all positions he occupied. That the nominee understands the diverse economic nature of the country and has displayed profound knowledge of the continuous existence of economic stability in the country. That the nominee has performed credibly in his first tenure, which resulted to the exit of the nation out of economic recession. Going by the nominee's character, banking experience, vast economic knowledge, and performance in his first tenure, he is qualified for the position of the governor of the Central Bank for another term, in which he has been nominated by Mr. President. In view of the above, the committee recommends that the Senate do approve the confirmation and renewal of appointment of Mr. Godwin Emefiele, CON, as the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The committee wishes to sincerely express its appreciation to the Senate for opportunity to serve in this capacity.
The Senate resolved to confirm Emefiele, after which President of the Senate, Bukola Saraki, congratulated the CBN governor while urging him to use his second tenure to improve the economy.
Distinguished colleagues, if there are no Objection, I'll put the question. Will the Senate approve the renewal of the nomination of Godwin IMFLA for appointment as Governor of the Central Bank? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Chairman, very distinguished colleagues, I move that the Senate reverse plenary for the chart report progress.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to second the motion that the chair now goes back to plenary to report progress. I so second, Mr. President.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate in the Committee of the Whole consider the report of the Committee of Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions on the screening of Mr. President's nominee for appointment as the Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria and approved nomination of Mr. Godwin Imefele as the Governor of the Central Bank. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in Committee of the Whole? Distinguished colleagues, confirmation. Will the Senate confirm the renewal of the nomination of Godwin Imefele for the appointment as Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The renewal of the appointment of Godwin Imefele is hereby confirmed as the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. On behalf of the Senate, let me congratulate the Governor of the Central Bank, Mr. Godwin Imefele, on the renewal of his appointment. We wish him a useful 5 years and we'll use the opportunity to continue to provide support and ensure that the economy of our country continues to improve and address the most important area of ensuring the macroeconomic stability.
The appointment of Emefiele will now be the first CBN governor to work for 2 tenures since country returned to democracy in 1999, as no CBN governor has been nominated for second term.
Nigeria's Finance Minister Zainab Ahmed said the country's huge debt was designed to reflect the economy by way of increasing consumption through the implementation of the federal government's Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, ERGP. The minister, while speaking to newsmen in Abuja, said the debt, which increased from 12.2 trillion naira to 23.0 trillion naira, was designed. Ahmed said the federal government ensured that it borrowed to finance capital projects, even as she acknowledged the consequences currently manifesting itself in the increase in debt.
The debt increase from 12.2 trillion to 23.0 trillion is by design. We had designed the ERGP to reflate the economy to take us out of recession. When we came on board and we made an assessment, it was clear that our country was going to go into recession. So when we were designing the ERGP, we did a research as to the best way to address a recession. And one of the best and easiest ways was to reflate the economy. And that means spending, putting a lot of consumption, money in the economy so that consumption will increase. We designed the ERGP to make sure that we borrow in the first year, in the second year, and in the third year. And in the fourth year, the borrowing was supposed to start reducing. And that is exactly what we have done. We made sure that we borrowed to finance capital projects. And that is why we were able to, within 4 quarters, come out of recession. At the same time, our country went into recession. There are other countries similar to Nigeria that went into recession. Some of them are still not yet out of recession. Because of the method we adopted, we went into recession. But the consequence, of course, is this increase in debt. And that's why the Ministry of Finance and the rest of and all its agencies are working to make sure that we increase revenue. At 19.09% debt to GDP, we still are the lowest amongst our comparator countries.
The Comptroller General of Customs, Hamid Ali, said the service has not issued any license for rice importation into the country, as any rice not produced in Nigeria is smuggled. He said the rice being smuggled into the country contains chemical which is harmful to the body when consumed.
We have not issued a license for importation of rice. So any rice you see on the street that is not produced in Nigeria is smuggled. It's smuggled. And it would be interesting with the assistance of our people, because if we stop buying this rice, certainly they will go out of business and there will be no need to bring in this rice. So may I appeal to Nigerians that imported rice is poisonous. One is that there's no rice, imported rice, that comes into this country that has not spent minimum of 5 years in the silos. Two is that a chemical must have been added to it to sustain its own freshness, and that chemical is harmful. Thirdly, when you see the bag, that it has been rebagged and then a new date is given, is false. It's false. They do that in Benin Republic, they do that on high sea. They change the bag and then give it a new date. And that's what we consume here. And when you end up with colon cancer, you begin to wonder, how does it happen? These are the causes of your disease.
Meanwhile, the federal government disclosed that between September 2018 and April this year, the trio of federal, state, and the local government distributed a sum of 4.8 trillion naira from the federation account. It also said a fresh 649.434 billion naira, being the last phase of Paris Club refund, will soon be paid to states. Awesome Raffle, Ben Television.